Welcome to the Old Comics 101 segment of my podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite Marvel comic series in the late 90s. It's part one of 3 parts, and it's called Earth X. I can't go into great detail on this in this podcast because my other 2 pieces of podcast got kind of long, so I'm going to keep it down to the bare minimum. I'm sorry. I actually filmed a longer version of this. It's about 35 minutes long. Maybe it's one of these days, if you guys want, I can put it up there for you. So anyway, I'll do what I do on everything else. I'm going to show examples of artwork along with my talking points in this of this part of the segment. You can see around me are all the covers of all the books except for one, which I couldn't fit on here, Wizard 1/2 Special Edition. So, but it's out there also. But this is pretty much everything that encompasses the series. So, and then you'll notice it's all done by the great artist Alex Ross. You got to admit, he's been doing this stuff forever, but you just got to love looking at his stuff. I mean, he's a great painter for this stuff. He also helped write the book. But the entire series, 0, like I say, to 12, there's a sketchbook and a Wizard 1/2 Special. The sketchbook came out in December of 1988. Numbers 0 through 12 started in March of 1999 and ended around June of 2000. It's written by Jim Krueger and Alex Ross, all of it. The artist, John Paul Leon, did all of it, except I think someone else drew the Wizard 1/2 sketchbook. And the inker on all of this was Bill Reinhold. This series is really fun to read. I really enjoyed it because I've read a lot of Marvel stuff, and it was like one of the first big ones to show us a different scenario, what could happen to the Marvel heroes around the late 1990s. And a lot of thought went into this. And it's good. It's just really good stuff. I'm going to explain how these comic books are built because they're really designed in such a way that you really should know up front what's going on with it. So if you look at these covers, you'll notice that each cover has a different hero on it or group of heroes. That represents that each of those cover heroes is at that point joining in on the storyline that's going on in this comic book series. When you open the book, it's a cardboard cover on all of them, which is nice. The first page is black and white, and what it is, it's a conversation between the 2 people that are telling the story pretty much, and that's Aaron Stack, who was called the Machine Man, and Uatu, which is the Watcher from like the Fantastic Four and other things in the past. And they get together and they are observing what's happening on Earth and telling us what's going on. Now, right after you read that, you're going to see 2 or 3 pages, maybe 4, of the retelling of the origin of the character on the cover. Who the character is, what happened to them, how did they get their powers, and what they did. And at the end of that little dissertation that they give you, you will see a current event that shows you what they are now. The best example I can give you is you see the origin of the Fantastic Four again, when they fly up, get irradiated, crash, get their powers, see them fight a few villains and stuff. But it also shows you the final fight of the Fantastic Four, where Dr. Doom and the Submariner get together again and decide they're going to wreak havoc on the world. And the Fantastic Four, with Franklin Richards at this time, go after them and fight. Along the way, Dr. Doom kills Johnny Storm. Sue Richards, she goes after Doom because she's upset, and she attacks him, and then it blows up. And it kills her and Dr. Doom, and the Submariner gets hit by Franklin Richards with his new powers, and half of him turns into like the Human Torch, and he's in pain and has to fly away. And that's where you start. You now know what the Fantastic Four is because Reed leaves, and he dons Dr. Doom's armor and goes and lives in the castle that Doom lived in Latvia. So you'll get those every episode in the books. So Anyway, and then in the back of the book, you're going to get sketch work. During the book, they talk about things that happen. You may not see them, but you get talked about. And you get sketch work about the current characters that are in this particular storyline and characters that are mentioned, all done by Alex Ross. And it's Uatu and Aaron Stack talking to each other about these characters. So you kind of get a nice little dissertation about what's going on with them when they were mentioned. The best example I can show you is they talk about President Norman Osborn. He's in charge of the United States now. And they talk about that a little bit. Don't give you a lot, but they give you a little bit. And later on in the stories, you get more stuff. So that's what the books are built like, and it's really works really well, flows really well too. So just briefly, this story takes place in the future of a Marvel universe on Earth, or the Marvel Universe 9997, Earth 9997, July of 1999, I believe. It takes place about 15 to 20 years in the future of this universe after the superhero era. As you read each issue, events past and current will appear and move the story along, so you kind of keep up to date on stuff. You can see what things may have caused what events or things happen that caused this current world to show up. And believe me, there's a lot of them. The main storyline in this particular series is there's a new character called the Skull. And he kind of emulates Red Skull, except he doesn't have the red mask or the deformed head. He is the son of a minor character called Comet Man. And when everyone got superpowers on this planet, which is what happens, everybody had superpowers, and they blame Reed Richards for it. He becomes a superior mental giant. And he ends up, if you read the story, killing like all the other ones, like Professor Xavier and anyone else has mind power. He kills them. And he's now using this power to begin conquering the United States. And what you're going to see in the story is a lot of heroes start banding together to try and stop them, led by Captain America. Also, there's a sub-storyline that involves the new Sorcerer Supreme, Clea, Doctor Strange's main squeeze there, girlfriend, and Bruce Banner, who is with a new version of the Hulk that's never been done in the other Hulk's storylines throughout Marvel history yet. And it's really kind of cool how they, their ideas on what would have happened with Bruce and the Hulk character. And this storyline will lead you briefly into the next series called Universe X, and then the one after that called Paradise X. This series, to me, is just so well written, and Jim Krueger and Alex Ross put a lot of time and effort in this, and a lot of thought, obviously, because there is so much going on. When you read this book, you see just little brief snippets of what happened to characters and stuff. Gee, whatever happened to Wolverine in here? They actually show you. So that's kind of fun. It was really fun to read just for those aspects of it. The artwork by Jean-Paul Leon is excellent. It was meant to be in this book. This is a dark and moody world, and his visuals are very dark and moody. After he does this, he ends up going to DC doing a lot of Batman stuff, which we all know Batman's a dark and moody area in DC Comics. So his artwork really fits in here. He did a good job on it. And I just think it's a great book. And I just can't begin to recommend enough that you should go out and read it if you have never read it. Find a way to read this book. If you want to collect it, even better. I mean, in the price guide, this book is dirt cheap still. I mean, for as old as it is, it's like 20-odd years old. And it's still like, in the price guide, $4 a book for most of it. The first one's a little bit more, and the sketchbook was a little bit more. It's like between $4 and $6. I mean, that's cheap compared to what you're paying for comics now. And this thing is quality. I mean, it's quality, and you should pick it up and read it. I recommend you buy the single issues. Hang on to them, take care of them. Wait till you're an old fart like me, and who knows, they may be worth something. God knows Marvel's desperate for movies. They may make a movie out of it, or a TV series or something. If there it goes up in price, possibly. I'm not an investing guy. Don't take my word for investment. But this has been kept in reprint form for years. They've done big tomes where they've collected them all for like $100 in a big book. They've done, before that, they've done trade paperbacks, 3 of them, 1 for each series. So they are available. And all you have to do is the usual. You go check out your local comic store, and hopefully he's got some version of it. Usually it's going to be a trade paperback. A lot of comic stores don't carry old comics. Big mistake, in my opinion. I would try and get the books. eBay, Amazon, whatever. A lot of comic books companies have their own websites that sell old comics. However you get it, and please, for the love of God, read it. It's an excellent series. I really recommend this. So, anyway, that's it for this one, and I thank you for tuning in, and we'll talk to you later.